On the app, what it does is it tells you to start an order to redeem it. So, of course, you're going to go to the curly fry. Instead of paying the $1.72 for the tacos, you're going to pay like $3.59 for the curly fries because you think you're supposed to start an order, but you're supposed to start the order, stop in mid-order, and then redeem it. And then it makes it to a zero balance, gives you a barcode. Oh. Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks. Next time I'll try to get those curly fries. I appreciate it.
It's okay.
The 4 tacos, yeah. So it's kind of what I call the 4 taco scheme. It's not really a scheme, but when you double the tacos, you get 4 of them. Well, I mean, you get 2 orders, which is 4 tacos. And I just showed her that I paid $3.59 for the curly fries. I was trying to get out there paying $1.72, but I used another card, so I didn't use my main card because I knew this was going to happen because I asked for the card. So you got to be careful. I don't know if you can do it. I think you can do it without putting the card number in and then hit redeem. I'm going to try it, though. We'll see. After I eat a couple tacos, I'll probably be able to do it. We'll see. Hang on. Let's see. Here's one of the tacos. So we made an agreement to get 4 tacos. I was only going to get 2 tacos and some curly fries. So instead, I ended up getting 4 tacos total. We'll show you right here. People in Florida are crazy. The first time I ever smoked a marijuana cigarette was in Palm Beach, Florida. My sister invited these surfers over. Man, I was so mad. They woke me up. They have a photo of me kind of yelling. So instead, you get the 4 tacos. I'd rather have the curly fries. And they actually gave them to me. So this was supposed to be 2 tacos and a curly fry, large curly fry, and I would pay $1.72. But with the redeem thing, I got to figure out how to do it. Because I did redeem and I put my card number in, I paid $3.59 for 4 tacos. So it's really like nothing was redeemed yet. I'm going to look at it after I take a couple bites, and I'm going to go and look and see if we can get those curly fries. So if it cuts and I'm eating curly fries, then we'll understand. So let's give it a try and see how the tacos are, because they make pretty good tacos here. There's a lot of lettuce you have to contend with. Linda's probably proud that I opened it up with my hand. I didn't like put it in my mouth. Yeah, it still tastes like a taco. My goodness. I dripped a little bit on there. I'll go look at the app. I'm not sure everything's turned on. I'm listening to Fiona Apple. Win the Pond. So we are on Hewlin. And we're at Overton Plaza. We're about to go to a very, very dangerous 4-way stop. Meaning, well, it's an intersection. We'll just say intersection. And I want to show it to you. See how that says a green arrow turning to the left? Or it's green turning to the left? When you go way down here to this intersection right here, there's Westdale. There's Southwest Loop 820. about to pass West Elk right here. The danger lies in this four-corner intersection. There is a turn to the left painted arrow on the street. It's painted white on the actual street. But they have what's called a red arrow that points also to the left. So it also, what it'll do is it turns green. Okay. And it turns red. But it also turns green and a red arrow at the same time. With, you guessed it, a left hand turn arrow to the white, painted in white on the street. If you look at that intersection, it's very dangerous. The reason why is because they added that left red arrow on the light. So that's the reason that, and so they need to erase that arrow that turns to the left in the middle section, because someone's going to look at that arrow and look at the green at the same time and not really notice the red arrow turning to the left. I would change that by like immediately, like by tonight, but it's still there because you're in this lane and there's a left white arrow on the painted on the ground on the street turning that way with a red light that is a red arrow light. And when the green light, see how that's green, is green, the red arrow to the left is red. It's a red arrow to the left. If you turn left on that, boom, right into oncoming. It's very, very dangerous. The city's responsible. They'll be sued. They'll be sued to high heaven because of this post right here. Done on, they may not. Let me see if it, they may not be. Let me see if this works. Yep, they will be. Because it says it January 26th. It doesn't say the year, but look, I can make it say the year. Let's sue them. Ready? Boom. There it is. They'll be sued because that's January 26, 2023 of that post when I made that complaint against the city. And because the city did not pay attention, they lost millions because they probably just killed somebody, or they'll kill somebody. Probably a motorcyclist or someone that's not going to pay attention to that arrow. Now, people have to pay attention to these road shows, especially the ones that are around this area, because I make comments about the city and the state and the government all the time. Because believe me, I know they're wrong. I'm 100% sure they are. I know the state officials are wrong. I know the president has issues. Richard Nixon was fired and should have gone to jail. Nixon should have been imprisoned, but he resigned so they'd let him go because he was breaking the law big time against American people. And Richard Nixon taught us that the 70s were wrong, and a lot of the laws were written. And who followed Richard Nixon? The most evil person of all time, probably Satan himself, was Gerald Ford. I'm pretty sure Gerald Ford was Satan incarnate. He was very evil. A lot of people think Ronald Reagan was. I think Gerald Ford was. If you look at pictures of Gerald Ford, he looks demonic. Anyway, look, I'm going to explain it how it is, okay? It's not this one. It's the one that you have to pay attention to this and understand it. This is a red light. They have a red arrow over there. It's a red arrow, red left arrow. Down at the bottom right here, right over there, on this end where that green is, they have a white left arrow painted onto the street right there. So it tells you to turn where a red arrow is. So if you're driving here looking at the green, you would think, oh, I can turn that way. And that's blood for the city. They'll be sued to high heaven. And I made this post right here on January 26, 2023. 88 miles per hour, Marty. 88 miles per hour. There we go. There's the green. You can see it's a arrow. That's fine with the left green arrow. That's fine. But it's a red left arrow with a white left painted on the road left arrow. And I'm sure you can find the vernacular in the courtroom, because when the lawyer sues the city and gets money for his client, if the client lives through it, because they'll make millions. They'll use the right vernacular. They'll use the right words. They'll cast the right spell. And it can hurt a lot of people. They need to change that. I made the complaint on January 26th, around 9 p.m. 2023. Get the time here, 9:44 p.m. A little note about you're not supposed to judge others yet you be judged, you know. And that's the whole George Floyd thing, you know. George Floyd went to gas stations, if it was just a one-time thing or if he did it all the time. Gave someone a counterfeit $20 bill. Whether he counterfeited it himself or he didn't know he had it, you don't ever even know you ever have a counterfeit 20. I worked at a bank for 4 years. We never found every single counterfeit bill, but everything was turned into the Secret Service. Because that's where you turn counterfeit bills, you turn them into the Secret Service. Put them in an envelope, you write Secret Service in them, and you send it to Secret Service. You don't go and call 911 or call the police on a $20 counterfeit bill. That's not how it works. They get them every single day. Just now, they got like millions of them probably floating around. And millions of people don't even know they have a counterfeit. Go look in your wallet right now and take out a $20 bill. Really study it. Do you know if it's counterfeit or not? Really look at it. Take all your 20s and sit there and look at it. You've come across a $20 bill. You've come across a $20 bill. You don't even know that it's counterfeit. It happens all the time. Bankers usually know because they can tell by the way it feels. But you don't kill somebody over it. Now the cop's in prison. Now the cop is in prison. We all saw him. He went bye-bye. Went to prison. He didn't get the death penalty, but maybe, you know, he got lucky. But he ain't happy in prison. That's what happened. Don't judge others. Now, Floyd probably got mad and got sick of it. And COVID was around. So if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to cause this beat cop a lot of problems. And I'm going to whine and yell. If Floyd was a big guy, if you put him in a ring without the badges, take down the badges, take out the badges, no badges. So take George Floyd's badge off. He didn't have a badge, but he wears a certain type of badge. He has his own type of badge. It's not like a cop's badge, but it's similar. It's his own little badge of respect. And you take the cop's badge, and you throw it away, put him in a ring, take a lot of on-site lookers, you know, people looking around, put them in a cage, say, George Floyd, this is the guy that killed you. He killed you. He put his knee on your back. He suffocated you, just like those UFC fighters have done to other people, or they could do. They don't let them. The ref doesn't. They say we're gonna tell the ref to leave the ring in the cage. We don't care about your mom, George Floyd. We don't care about your dad. We do care about your God, and Jesus will oversee it. We'll all get to watch. This is the guy that killed you. Now get in the ring. Rocky Balboa, Creed. Go at it. See who wins. It won't be the cop. That day, things were backwards. It was backwards. Because George Floyd feared something. And it's what St. Paul, the apostle, which we're going to drive by and listen to something David wrote from Psalms. But St. Paul, the apostle Paul mentioned Psalms a few times. He even quoted it because he was from the tribe of Benjamin. And he knew what this meant. It meant, restore to me the joy of our salvation, Psalms 51:12. And that's Jesus. Jesus is our Lord. Now, it wasn't right what the cop did. Killed the black man with his knee. But that crowd could have rushed that cop, tore his badge off, and kicked the living shit out of him in front of everybody. And said, no, we will not take it anymore. But they didn't. They didn't because they cowered because of what Apostle Paul talked about, the law. We do not worship the law. Those that worship the law go to hell and they die in hell. We will watch them do so. You do not worship law. You worship Christ. We are not in law. We have no in-law. We are in Christ Jesus. Amen. The word of Lord spoken. All right, we do have proof of a ghost, and we're documenting this. This right here, and I'm gonna document this, was laying way over here. Linda's gonna explain what happened. We know the cat didn't do it. This is one of my stands for vlogging. It's one of the many that I have. And the recorder, when I walked in, I replaced things, but it was down on the ground right here. And the first ghost, not sighting, but the first ghost account, I guess we'll say ghost account, was that painting right there, which my mom gave me. When I came home, this was before Linda,
Hey, baby.
Well, it was when Linda was still living in Dallas, but I would come home by myself. This was on the floor. We had no cat at that time. There's the cat right here. And this was on the floor, which I did have a neighbor, but I don't think the neighbor was there at the time. I'm not for sure. He may have been there or not. But that was on the floor. It's still there now. The other sighting, and this was with this Ouija board from Morrissey, from Stephen Patrick Morrissey. This is November Spawned a Monster. Right behind it is Ouija board. I'm going to show you. You can see the shadow. This album is Ouija board. You see it? It's a Stephen Patrick Morrissey album that he was the lead singer of the Smiths. You can kind of see it. It says Ouija board, Ouija board. There's a lot of shadow issue. I'm trying here. There we go. Right there. It says Ouija board. When I lived in the Carrollton place, the mansions, I actually saw this fly off and land on the ground. I saw it fly through the air and land on the ground, along with. Scary. I am talking about these are haunted. This album is haunted right here. It's a Morrissey album. It's haunted. Shh, I know. We're talking about it. It flew and it landed right there. Now it has done it several times. And I understand, look, it's just sitting there. So I understand heat can cause it to fall off, things like that. So it can be debunked. But it also happened in another apartment. And that has flown off several times and been on the floor. Now, she's going to explain what happened.
Okay, I was sitting right over here.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting right over here on the couch.
Right.
Okay, I did not touch...
Sitting where?
I was sitting right over here on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Like right here. I was talking to Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're talking about Jesus and God. And then the recorder fell down.
In front of you, right? It just fell in front of you. Right.
But the cat was in the bedroom.
Right. It wasn't the cat. Now, there has been 2 people murdered. And it's not in... we don't know what...
Kitty cat.
Yeah, no, it's kitty cat. Don't worry about it. That's kitty cat.
I didn't play with him enough tonight.
Okay.
Shh. Oh,
He acts... He does flip out. Almost like possession. Well, let's watch him for a little bit. Now, if we didn't know, if she wouldn't have said anything, all of a sudden we could have had a real We're not trying to, there's no special effects other than the cat. We know there's a cat in there. We're not saying that there's not one. But what we're trying to say is that she's seen it with her own eyes. And your name is Linda Spivey?
Sure.
Okay. Whoa. See, he starts to flip out. There he goes. Okay. She saw the recorder fly off and land. This was, when I walked in, this was all over there, all over the floor. Like I said, when Linda was living in Dallas, this painting right here, this little picture painting thing, it's a drawing, was on the ground one time. I think one time we had a little St. Patty thing right over here, and it had fallen down too, so that's normal. She saw all these items fly in front of her, and I've seen this album. Now, since I've been here, this Morrissey album I have not seen fly, but I have seen it on the ground. But at the mansions at Sunset Ridge, where that lady died, her name was Wilcock, what's her name?
I can't remember.
Wilcock, Alicia. Her name was Alicia.
Yeah, Severstone. I don't know.
No, it was Alicia Wilcock.
Yeah, Wilcock. Okay, gotcha.
I think,
Okay, you do your
anyway,
thing.
she actually, okay, what are you going?
What do you think I'm going to do?
What are you doing? You're trying to stay away from the cat?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we know there's most likely ghosts here. Now, true story. There were 2 people murdered a little over maybe 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. The previous owner of this place knows about it. I've interviewed him once, but I did not put it on camera. It was just a person-to-person interview. He told me there was a murder of 2 people. Supposedly guns were involved or something. And supposedly the weapons were left behind. We don't know anything about it. But we do know that it did happen. So it was in this particular complex. I'm not saying it was this unit. We don't know if it was this unit or what. But weird things have happened. So look at Kitty. Watch Kitty. He'll start acting weird. And he does do this kind of werewolfish kind of thing. I want to show you. Watch this. Kitty, watch this. Watch him, look at him. See, ow. Yep, see? Back, beast, back. Okay, go this way.